Flings. This is Kontact Pluto. I'm Kontact Da Capricorn. This is Pluto The Scorpio. Coming to you live-ish. Well, we're doing it live. You're going to see it later. Always from Kontact Pluto headquarters. No longer in the wintry east coast of Canada. Give a shout out to Mother Nature this week. She blessed us.
With that warm weather.
In a few ways. Yeah, Wednesday we had nice weather. I was skating. Hell of a day Wednesday.
Hell of a day.
And yeah, she's been good all week getting rid of this snow, and I'll be glad to see it all go. I think maybe I'll find my wallet. I lost my wallet one of these nights, and
was it that night?
No. This has been long ago enough now. So,
oh, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I thought maybe I left it in a cab. Called the cab. They said no. And I think maybe I went out to the shed for a smoke. I was pretty fucking.
So it could be just like resting in the snow outside your house.
I think so. Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, they didn't find it, and I knew I had it pay for the cab there. So who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Hopefully, when the snow goes. Jules, I want to take a minute here. I gotta get real for a second. I gotta talk to our.
We weren't real.
Well, I mean, this is specific thing to any of our viewers who are skateboarders. We lost a fucking heavy hitter this week. Real fucking heavy hitter. Jake Phelps. Now, Jake Phelps, I don't know if that name means much to you, but...
I don't follow skateboarding as hard as you do, man.
No. So Thrasher Magazine. You obviously know Thrasher Magazine. Yeah. He's I don't know if he's the editor-in-chief or the chief editor, but he passed, I don't know, I think it was Thursday. And he just... I don't know, man. He's like skateboarding's integrity's backbone is what I want to describe him at. He's like that core, and he keeps it fucking hardcore too. You know.
Has he been skating for a while?
He's been skating for a long ass time. It's not like he's a pro skater or anything.
Okay.
He's all right at skating.
I would assume Thrasher Magazine would have made him a pro skater.
Yeah, no, he's had like collab model shoes with America, a Mark Johnson model. Shout out to those, but. No, he's really fucking maintained the integrity of skateboarding. I mean, I say integrity a million times because I feel like that's what he did for it. You know, he kept the fucking bitches and the punks and the kooks at bay, and he fucking kept it real. And yeah, that was a fucking hard one. So shout out to Phelps, wherever the hell you are. If you're out in space, down under, up over, fucking wherever you are, I'm sure you're
skate heaven.
Yeah, I hope he's in skate heaven. So yeah, well, that being said, R.I.P. Phelps, and to the episode. So,
let's go.
This week, Jules and I watched a movie, was it The Unacknowledged?
The Unacknowledged. The
Unacknowledged. So, you can find it on Netflix. We'll post a link to Netflix, and I'll give you my mom's password, so you can go watch it.
Don't tell her.
Just kidding. But I'm sure most of you fuckers have Netflix anyways. Get on there, take a peek if you like. We're going to be discussing that briefly. It's about aliens. I think a lot of it was exposing some sort of, I don't know, do you want, like, Stephen Greer was one of the main guys.
He was the guy that they went towards. He was the one person that broke down most of the things. There was two narrators, like you had mentioned before. There was Stephen Greer and Giancarlo Desposito.
So I think it was largely based off Stephen Greer's works. Could we say that accurately?
Well, he had this archive of interviews and documents and basically anything to do with aliens after I think it was the Rockwell crash.
One of those first ones.
That was 1947.
Yeah, I was looking up just briefly on Crystallinks. Shout out to Crystallinks. That's a good website. We use quite a bit. But it was saying there was one in 1897 in Texas, and it's a crash, and then they threw a bunch of the parts down a well, and then this guy bought the property that it had the well on it, and he dug it up. He dug a bunch of weird pieces he didn't know anything about. He thought nothing of it. He was just throwing that out like fucking space junk. Anyways, he got the well going, and then he got some sort of severe fucking weird arthritis from drinking the water in the well. So he sealed up the well with a concrete slab and put a fucking outhouse above the slab. That's what I read, at least. We can post a link to the Crystallinks article. But I just thought it was curious because in that movie they kind of mentioned like 1947 as the main one, but then this one is obviously 1897.
Well, maybe that's where they got like some evidence that there's stuff there, like debris or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what they had said. It's a crash.
Yeah, well,
it was the first alien
this
spaceship
one was
to crash.
Allegedly a crash as well.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up, because it was kind of weird. I just figured I'd do a little bit of research, but they said that, and then there was a newspaper clipping where it said the pilot of the ship was not from this Earth. He was maybe a Martian, and just like I mean, you imagine back in the day, they wouldn't. I don't know. They wouldn't be as organized to do all the hiding and secrecy, which Stephen Greer kind of thinks that they do around the aliens.
Yeah.
So they might have just posted out like, yeah, it was probably Martian. I don't know what people would have thought, and they probably.
I mean,
didn't think
that's
much.
something we should definitely ask our grandparents about. Like, see what their thoughts on aliens are.
Is what I'm sort of thinking right now. If it's in 1897, the newspaper that shit was published in Texas, motherfuckers in Europe ain't gonna see that. What are they gonna do? Mail that shit over?
That's true, eh?
Not
there was
get
no
on the
like,
telephone,
there was no cell phones or internets.
Yeah, not send this
Media.
quick text over to fucking Granny and Nanny saying, "Yo, got
Well, there's
space
media,
fan."
but yeah.
Yeah, no, but that's why it wasn't as simple and efficient as it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's a tidbit. So basically, a lot of Stephen Greer's work. It seems like he's been doing this for quite a while. I didn't really understand. Was he affiliated with the CIA, or did he work with the CIA, or did they just come to him for knowledge about the aliens?
I don't remember that. I think he went out and like specifically interviewed like these people because I can't remember exactly what his.
But he briefed a lot of people on the aliens. Like he specifically briefed the CIA. They said.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if he was part of the CIA or the CIA went to him for info.
He was a doctor, right? I'm pretty sure he was a surgeon. If I'm not mistaken.
A surgeon.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he was a surgeon.
Yeah, tell us. Let us know. Yeah, so it was a pretty interesting movie. Obviously, mostly about aliens. Like Jules said, had a bunch of clips with interviews of people who had been like in different military positions. They've been what the fuck else? Military positions. Like a few presidents came up to him and wanted to get briefed by him, I guess, about aliens because it was saying how a couple presidents went to look into the alien files and didn't go so well. I know.
Like it's always been classified by the time they got anywhere near those types of information.
Yeah, and they were kind of talking like it was JFK, like that was the reason JFK got shot because he was looking into aliens.
They made it portray that way, and I can kind of see why they would portray it that way because as soon as he gets engaged with some of that or something that he wasn't supposed to know, that would make way more sense to assassinate him because he would expose them. He would expose that shit, and that makes total sense. In one sense, I get it why they would suppress it. Yeah. In another sense, I can see why all these conspiracy theories about this situation because like I see it from both angles.
Yeah. You kind of feel because one thing that was running through my mind the whole time we're watching the movie, like if these people who are suppressing all these aliens, if they're like that organized to do that, why would they let that movie be released? I felt like they obviously don't care if we know that. And I
think it's gotten to the point now where it's gonna come out no matter what.
I suppose
like,
just because
I didn't know about this movie until I was like searching through Netflix. I just like put on documentaries. That's what I'd like to do to like go to sleep at night. You know.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I passed out halfway through because
that
was exactly it.
Nature of that context. So well, it's interesting like that because I always get buggered when people start talking about conspiracy theories, or just more so in the type of way that like, okay, knowledge is suppressed and they're like orchestrating us and we only know as much as they want us to know and all this shit. I'm like, for that to happen, that requires so many smart people, like to be in that big of a society where they can keep everything under wraps. And generally, like, I haven't met enough people who could even just keep a secret. Like, that doesn't even
it's
have
funny
to deal
because
with intelligence.
It's been happening so long. Like, how do we even know what is real and what isn't? And I feel if I was a government, what do you want to call that?
Official.
Well, like government, like these government projects, like if I were to see that type of information, I'd be like, I can just use this to my advantage. People don't know what's real and what isn't, so they can just like. People can post anything now.
Well, like how you saying? So like people can just post disinformation about aliens to make it so it's like it's not true, or like make it like it's true. So
both those things.
That's okay.
It's hard to find out what is real and what isn't when it comes to those types of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wouldn't even say that. I'd say like majority of
agree with that. Like,
I would say majority of conspiracy theories, you don't know what's the truth and what isn't because people will dig up facts and put parallels where things don't even exist.
Well, I get that, like, anybody can say anything nowadays, and any fucker can post any fucking thing on any fucking site. So, like, the potential for disinformation is bigger than it's ever been, right? Yeah. But also, I'm not going to tangent onto that just yet, but I always think, fuck, I want to tangent on that. So if you have all these websites, like all this information coming out, it's all accessible. We can all get to whatever we want nowadays. Whereas, like, just like we were describing about that newspaper, like if that newspaper came out in Texas in the like 1890s, all right, it's not likely that that even reached Europe. It would have to go through such a process to get over there. Whereas nowadays, something like exactly this, what we're doing right now, this can go be seen in India like as soon as we post it up. So the availability, it's obviously there like crazy. Now with them doing all this shit, like the disinformation, this is where I'm like, truth.
One sec. 1947. Do you think that when you would see that article in the paper, do you think that would be more like, you would accept that more? You'd be more willing to like believe those types of things back then? Do you think that the newspaper would be less fraudulent?
I see, because the way I looked at it is like the paper was probably telling the truth. Obviously, I felt like there was no qualms about hiding it back then. Yeah. But it also, they didn't really maybe understand the power of withholding that information, the potential that could have. So maybe they just didn't care. And also, they would have, I think, known at least like also, this is not.
Who knows how long like aliens have been here or how long they've been hiding the information?
Well, see, this gets, I mean,
we're getting in some sticky stuff.
That's a big thing because it gets dark, right? I mean, because obviously the Egyptians and all this shit, all these weird like architectural feats that date way back, people think that that's aliens. So there's just that. And so aliens to me is like a no-brainer thing, like obvious. If you're stupid enough to think that we're the only fucking like living race in this galaxy, you're just fucked. I mean, it's kind of shitty to say, but I think it's like that way. I mean, obviously there's shit going on at other places. I agree on that.
I remember them mentioning in the movie that there's 2 to 6 intelligent type beings in our Milky Way galaxy.
See, I fucking hated that, man, because an alien is smarter than us for fucking sure. Because the alien don't have to live here, man. I don't think like
true.
You know.
But them saying 2 to 6, and there's many videos you can search on YouTube and stuff like that they describe hundreds of different species of aliens.
Yeah.
But I like how they use the word intelligent one. So that either means on to our level or beyond our level.
But think about this. If there's an alien that gets to live out in space that's stupider than us, doesn't that make you pissed off?
I mean...
Fucking pissed, man. I gotta be here. Motherfucker's out in space and he's stupider than me? What the fuck is the point of being smart?
What about if these guys are like living inside the Earth?
Well,
remember that theory?
Okay, and we're fucking tangent all over the place. If they're living in the Earth,
man, we're talking about aliens.
It's fine. It's fine. In the Earth, I mean, fuck. I don't know. I've seen some stuff where it says that they live in the Earth. I don't know enough about it to just fucking spit on it, like to ramble about it. But I don't know. The main thing with if I backtrack it to this video, well, you kind of bring up some good points. The 2.2 to 6 like intelligence, that's just fuckery to me because aliens, they got to be smarter than us. Like, I don't think that they would just be out there flying around dumb. Like, how does that even make sense?
And what do you mean by smarter than us? Like, in every sense of being intelligent? Like, emotionally able to withhold information? I know I'm kind of going off now, but like...
No, this is fair because intelligence encompasses a wide variety of things, right? So I would say intelligence, obviously. With the emotional thing, I mean, I don't know that aliens have emotions the way that we do. I think emotions are a very low brain fucking capacity. Because if you notice anybody who's like super emotional, they're kind of shitty to be around. They're just like, you can't really say what you want to say without offending them or, rubbing them the wrong way. So that's like, they're lower in the scale, I would say.
That's also sensitive. I think we talk about IQ and EQ. IQ being intelligence, and then EQ being emotional.
You ever hear people say like, "Oh yeah, George Bush has got a real high EQ, but not IQ, and that's why they made him president." Somebody was trying to tell me this one time. I'm like, "Okay, look, you're like the person telling me this. I was like, you're stupid as fuck. First of all, like you're stupider than Bush, and if you think that, like the EQ thing, I don't know. EQ probably what they mean in the sense is like he has a good ability to control the crowd, and I don't know, maybe Bush has that, but I wouldn't call that EQ.
That's more or less charm, which is probably part of what emotional intelligence is.
Yeah, but see, to me, that's not even emotional intelligence because if you're like, it's all up in the mind. I don't think the mind has like different sets of languages, maybe. And that's not really fair to say, but fuck. I'm murking this because there's a lot of levels to this, and it's hard to just speak like about one and then the next one and the next one. But if it's fucking emotional intelligence, your emotions obviously they're part of your being, but you can manipulate your emotions through your intelligence, through your mind. So if there's two separate languages and emotion is one language and then intelligence is one language, emotion is definitely the lower of the languages because it can be manipulated by the intelligence language. So with your thoughts, if you're feeling sad or you're feeling like tired, you can think in your brain and kick yourself into gear. This may be harder for some and easier for others, but you can overcome your emotions with this. And then the thing too is I've always thought that emotions are just unfinished thoughts. So if you experience something and you didn't fully cope with it, then you get an emotion, and the emotions is not really as diverse of like happy, sad, glad, mad, fucking like it's not as colorful as people paint it out to be. But I think with the emotions, it's a pretty simple thing. Like I just like the unfinished thoughts because what I've noticed is if I feel some sort of weird way, it's not like I'm feeling gloomy or like I don't have a name for the emotion. It's just like I'm on or I'm off. So if I'm off, then I have to go think about what I was thinking about and see if I didn't do it efficiently. See if there's something that I didn't come to a conclusion on that actually rang true. And usually I can go back through the thoughts and find something that rings true. And then that emotion, it goes away. So I go from off to on.
Would you deem that a meditative practice? Because I feel like that's what the whole point of meditation is. Or
a demeditative practice?
No. Would you deem that as a meditative process?
I wouldn't, because when people hear the word meditative, they think like like that's usually, I would say, a general
I feel like if
assumption.
you were to go into like why someone would want to meditate, that would be like the number one reason is to not let their emotions control them.
To clear their mind up and get in tune.
Be here and now. That's kind of like
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with it, but I just wouldn't use the word meditation because, of course, I'm a fucking word Nazi, but I wouldn't use that because...
Yeah, I was going to mention we should grab this.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that because that's too... It makes the average brain just go too many weird ways. And this is why you kind of call me a word Nazi all the time, is because I'm very picky about words because I think about it like this. If you get whatever you're saying, and if you're saying something that's going to be useful to somebody, you want it to be as clear and as useful as it can be. So if you're saying words that are interpretable in too many different ways, then you're not achieving what you want to do, and you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. So say it as specifically as you can. And obviously there's an old cliche, like if you understand something fully, you can say it simply.
I was just going to say that. So that's like what encompasses how you approach conversations in writing.
A lot of the times, again, like I wouldn't say it specifically that way. I think. So wait, what did I say? Like, if you can't understand it, if you don't understand it, you can't say it simply. Like, I agree with that.
I definitely
completely
understand what you're saying. Man.
I just think like. Even because this doesn't always apply. You can see like some really socially awkward scientists who like knows things like beyond what most people can comprehend, like some weird math formula and something like this, and then they're just a weirdo, like a creep to talk to. So they understand it, but they can't explain it simply because they're fucking weird. So what is that? That doesn't fit that just goes to show you there's different types of intelligence. That reminds me of the guy in... because we're branching off too much. Would you say different types of intelligence, or would you say that's his EQ or something? Like, what is it that makes him weird like that? Because I wouldn't say it's like a different type of intelligence. Because obviously, I think intelligence is your mind's capability to decipher something and hit the truth. That to me is what intelligence is, and only what it is. This is what I was getting at. Do you remember the guy in Simpsons? You ever watched The Simpsons? Yeah,
a little bit. Do you remember the comic book guy? Comic book dude? I can't remember exactly what his name is. Like weird, like, what do they call it? Scarlet? Red hair. Oh, red hair? Pretty sure it's comic book dude. Oh, you mean Sideshow Bob? No. I'll bring up a picture of that dude. Okay. Yeah, that I don't know exactly. He had an IQ of 160, but... Yeah. Like every day talking to that guy, he basically was like useless to society. Oh fuck, I know who you mean. Yeah. But the nerdy looking guy. Everything about comics. Oh wait, no, I'm still thinking about the nerd in the lab. The thing is, like, the IQ was only towards the comics, towards the information of withholding of what happens inside the comics.
Okay, so it was
Like
very specific to the
another
comics.
example is Snoop Dogg. Apparently, he is a super high IQ, but where is that placed? In his
Well, fuck,
music
man.
or in
See,
weed? Like,
Snoop Dogg can explain things pretty fucking efficiently. So, I mean, there's an IQ that seems like a functional IQ. Because I think almost with this, an IQ, the whole IQ system is botched. Don't even get me started on that. But like that whole, if you go take an IQ test, they're basically trying just to deceive you. Like, Johnny has 3 nuts and his sister is a virgin. Like, where's his fucking arse? Like, it's not really proving intelligence. It's pretty bullshit. I heard one guy talk about an IQ test that would be efficient is how much you can contain in one thought, like how much you could conceive in just one notion, like how much. It's a hard thing to explain because people don't view IQ as that. So this is a completely foreign topic that I'm trying to interject. I'm not doing a good justice here, but
to lead back into the alien stuff. I remember what Neil deGrasse Tyson said.
Yeah.
He was like, imagine a species
smarter
than us compared to how we are smarter than, let's just say, a primate. Like, the comparison between, or the distance of intellect between us and the primate, the opposite way. Like, the alien being the higher intellectual.
No, I get what you're saying. So that's what you're saying?
Yes.
I mean, what do you want to say with that?
Well, it was just a cool comparison that Neil deGrasse Tyson said. Like, imagine how much smarter that person, that being would be than us.
He's literally just saying like we are to aliens as ants are to us. Yeah.
Technically, in that sense, yeah.
So, like, where do you want to go with that? I don't.
It was just a cool comparative. Like, look at the distance between us and them. We don't know any other intelligent species per se.
Yeah, Tesla. I mean, and this is the thing. Like, all the fucking brilliant people, I know Tesla. We made him fucking die alone talking to pigeons. So how fucking smart were they?
They stole all the stuff after he died. They had mentioned that in the book.
Fucking botched him all to hell, man.
I wrote that
Just
down.
fucking cunts. That's where cunts is absolutely applicable.
So yeah, they stole all his information after he died on free energy and to save jobs of the elite.
Yeah, see, man, I don't know about this stuff, man, because I think the main point of that movie was to say that there's a potential that we have, or not we, but there is technology so advanced that they could stage an alien invasion and make it look like aliens invaded us.
Yeah, these alien reproduction vehicles.
No, but that
was a pretty funny.
That's funny,
pretty
but
funny
that's
word.
Yeah, that is like, see this. Okay, so if the main point of the video is that aliens, or the secret society, whatever, they have enough knowledge of spacecrafts that they've invented things that look exactly like spacecrafts, function like spacecrafts, but they're not actually aliens like aliens from other planets, but they can stage what looks like an alien invasion and basically make humans hate aliens, all right? Do like a 9/11 thing in like an alien format.
And that's how they kind of portrayed that in the movie. Like, we see scenes of
let's just
9/11,
So if we focus on that, like, to me that was the point of the movie. Just saying like, okay, look, all this aliens are true,
they're hiding a lot
and
of shit.
Also like there's a potential that they could fucking basically pull this whole fucking pimp scheme. It's pretty impressive if they pull something off like that. But this is where I get to the video. I'm like, okay, if they were gonna do that, why would they let a video like that air? Why would they do that? Is it too much trouble to kill all the people who are involved in that video without making it too messy? Like, is that it? Or do they not care that we know that? I think that if they're really controlling everything, they know what we're gonna know. They're not gonna let something like that air if it interjected or interfered with their agenda. I don't think that that's their agenda anymore. I think he's fucking 20 years behind. If that shit comes out, they obviously felt it was okay that we know, because they just wouldn't let it be. I think there's a whole kind of focus of people, whoever are like allegedly controlling all these things, they let us know what they feel we need to know and nothing else.
And like I said already, like, I feel like if the information were to expose itself, it just come out, because like they have almost no control over what comes out, other than Google.
Yeah.
Google's a very tightly
they
guarded thing now,
they
right?
still own all these things. So this is where, like, because I'm not on board with conspiracy theories that are like, okay, they're just trying to hold us down. They're just trying to suppress us and like not let us do anything. I don't think that that's their goal. I think if they know all this stuff, all this advanced stuff, they probably understand that if the average person knew it, like it just wouldn't be of any use to them because they already can't comprehend simple enough stuff, like how to not have these weird ailments like anxiety or something shit. Like people can't really control themselves enough just to be able to live their own lives. Then you're gonna add this thing of like, okay, this is this fucking spaceship that only works by you having yourself in tune with your emotions and absolutely enlightened. Like, there's not enough people that could actually use these spaceships. And I figure that these spaceships probably work on a higher vibration, so you need to be of higher vibration to work these spaceships.
Interesting, man.
So, like, if that's the case, there's no point in telling just the average person who can't even like handle themselves what about this spaceship. So it's not really like they're doing it to harm us. And this is where I feel like conspiracy theories kind of get fucky because I don't think the intent is to harm us. I think that they know, like, there's no point in telling this person because I think you and I could probably draw a parallel in terms of some of the stuff we know. We wouldn't just go out and tell Joe Blow on the street because the conversation would be of no point. Like, I wouldn't just go explain to any random person, like, all this stuff I know about astrology because it would be such a headache starting from fucking piece one to try and bring them up to speed. It would be a waste of my time. So my time's kind of better used studying and furthering my knowledge instead of trying to share it and bring everybody up to speed. Like, that's such a painful thing. So
it's fucked because, like, the main part that I really liked with that was like the whole Tesla thing. If we actually had the opportunity to use their technology in our everyday lives and how it would save like the earth and free energy and all these other things. I can't remember exactly the list they used.
So, because there's two ways. When they were describing in the Tesla documentary, they said that the reason, like one of the main reasons that they didn't take on Tesla's stuff, and it was because of a money thing, and this is how they viewed it. They said, well, if Tesla's technology came out, there'd be no timber industry because they wouldn't need the fucking timber to make the telephone poles. There'd be no iron and metal industry because they wouldn't need the wires made. So it cut out like two huge industries.
Like, of a touch on those types of things.
What his main thing was essentially a spike that went in the ground, and then it was free energy. You didn't need to plug shit in. Anything that needed energy, it could just sit beside this, and it worked like this toroidal field, and it brought in all the energy.
So and technically they didn't use that because there's no money in it, right?
Well, exactly. You could have energy anywhere. You could go out to the middle of fucking Alaska and take this stake in the ground. And this is how they explain it. I mean, fuck. But you just put this stake in the ground and then boom, you got energy. You can fucking heat a house. You can run your stove. You can do all these things. Just like
imagine we just teach people how to do that and then just fuck the government.
Well, see, like, I don't know if it's a whole fuck the government. I don't feel like the government's scared of losing his position. This is why I don't like a lot of these conspiracy theories.
I think it's partially that, and it's the people that are making money through energy and stuff like that.
Like, government lose his position. Like, this is the thing. Like, what does the government do? I don't understand. Okay, money goes to taxes, right? Money goes to taxes. The government maybe fixes the road, keeps schools in place, and does these things. But generally, when I'm living my everyday life, the government doesn't really interfere with anything that I'm doing. Like, if I go to buy something, I got to pay taxes. But I don't think paying taxes is bad because we do need to upkeep our fucking environment.
Of course.
So if those go to upkeeping the environment and, if maybe healthcare and this shit, that's fine because that's just like a natural system. So if that's government's okay. The shit that they're talking about with people withholding information, like, obviously they're beyond government because government is really a fine thing. Like, obviously it has its kinks and flaws and you got idiots everywhere, so they're not doing things as efficiently as could be. But with this technology being withheld, it's like, okay, why did they withhold it? What was the real reason that they withheld it? I've heard one theory where they say, well, the humans weren't ready for it. They would have just tried to weaponize it. And they would have turned everything into a weapon. They would have fucking blown each other to pieces.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But remember in that video where it was saying that every time they shot a fucking nuke up into space, some sort of alien life form would come and fucking destroy the nuke before it went out into space and blew up.
Yes.
So to me that means
that's
obviously
I forgot about that part.
Well, aliens got to be smarter, right? Yes. Because if there was this 2 to 6 and there was some like 2-level aliens out there,
so would you say that's the Anunnaki?
I
controlling us from afar.
Tangent on that because there's, like you said, there is a lot of different alien species, right? So Anunnaki maybe, Arcturians maybe. That's not really relevant in terms of like if we're shooting nukes up into the sky, and the aliens are fucking nuking the nukes so they don't nuke shit. The aliens are smarter than us, all right? They're not going to be like, okay, look at the Earthlings. They're sending another bomb into space to fuck shit up. They're like, no, these fucking idiots. Look at these dumbasses. They're shooting shit into space.
Yeah, one thing they did say in the video, though, that aliens were perceiving us as a threat. because we have space weapons.
Okay, sorry. That can't be possible because if the alien's smarter than us, we are not a threat. They're taking away our nukes that we're sending up there. So that would be as much of a threat that we could pose, even if we they know. Think about who you're smarter than, like a child.
Yeah.
Like we're essentially a child to them. Yeah. Is a child a threat to you? A child can't be a threat to you. I mean, even a child with a knife, you kick that baby against a wall.
Yeah.
Baby's done, knife's done, your life's good. Obviously, don't kick no baby, but this is how I kind of view the alien shit, man. It's just the aliens are obviously smarter than us because they're cleaning out the nukes. That's like stage one. If they were dumber than us, they'd be like, oh, I wonder what that thing is. And then they're all fucking dead, right?
Yeah.
Aliens are smart enough to know that's a fucking nuke coming up. Those stupid motherfuckers down there making nukes, idiots. They're shooting it up into space, idiots. Yeah. We gotta get rid of this because I imagine it wouldn't only fuck up space, it would fuck up something in our atmosphere that would trickle down and then fuck us up too. Like it'd be a double whammy of fuckery. So they're like, no, we're not letting that happen. I think the real question is, why don't they come down here and talk to us? That's more of like, why don't they?
Maybe that's exactly what they're suppressing. They don't want people to know what they're talking about. And this brings to another point too.
That would mean that the aliens are only coming down and talking to those people, right?
That's true.
So aliens could come down and talk
but
to
then
you
again,
or I.
You hear all the time about like people getting abducted and people having like telepathic conversations with these aliens, or they're coming in and out of like different dimensions and stuff like that.
Well, this is where it gets weird. I mean, because if the aliens are doing that and then these people are coming back, I mean, do any of them say that person comes back with really like brilliant knowledge? Maybe the people who want to suppress it find that person and suppress that knowledge before it gets to light. But there's enough knowledge that's come out that's been like too far weird. Like there's this guy who experienced some sort of alien transmission. It was a binary code. Anyways, motherfucker doesn't know nothing about binary. He does not know tech guru. He's not no fucking making no websites. But he remembers it. He wrote it all down, so he gives it to some guy who fucking speaks leet or whatever the fuck the nerds say.
Leet.
So he gives it to this guy. This guy transcribes it, and one of the quotes was, "These are the Earth's eyes." It's not exactly like that. Like Earth's eyes are these, and it gave a bunch of coordinates. One of the coordinates was the pyramids in Giza. Yeah. So what does this mean to us, though? Like, these are the Earth's eyes? Like, this is a metaphor, to me at least right now. It's obviously something, like, physical and real. But to understand it, I don't really know where to start. If the pyramid's an eye...
Maybe this is how the Earth connects with the other beings.
No doubt, but, like, see, this is, like, it comes to us.
I mean, it's worth talking about.
All we can do is just theorize, right?
Yeah.
We can't prove it yet. I don't know what we would... I don't know how we would go about proving it. What do you do? Like stick a rod down the pyramid?
Another thing I want to mention, have you ever had any experiences with the other kind? I never asked you that question. I know we've talked about like spiritual things like ghosts or other dimensional creatures. Would you say those are like type of aliens? Or they're living in different dimensions? Or would you assume an alien would be like objective like we are?
So, okay, there's two. Are you asking me, like, if I've ever seen, like, what I thought was an alien, or if I've ever experienced, like, something with aliens?
Pretty much any of those two things.
So, with definitely I've had some fucking strange experiences.
Yeah.
This is a funny story. Okay, so I used to smoke a lot of weed, as did yours truly.
I've never smoked weed in my life.
We used to be fucking potheads. We used to smoke a lot together, smoke fucking just... basically stoners. Anyways, one day I was craving, I got on to pops near the end. Now, I call them to pops because that's the proper way to say it, and if you say it any other way, you're just fucking gay. So, to pops...
You mean Yetis?
Yeah, see, you sound like a clown. You gotta say to pops or to poppers, but anyways, this is how I describe it. For people who don't know what to pop is you take a fucking bong, you rip out the bowl part, you put basically just a stem in, you take a piece of cigarette, put it in there, and then put some weed on top, fucking light it, the weed fucking smokes, and then it cherries, and it fucking makes a cigarette pop, and then you pull it through, and there's kind of a pop sound to it.
And then you go white and pass out.
Some people do, man.
That was me my first time.
It's a hard thing on the lungs, man. It's no fucking joke. I've heard people call it hippie crack, and that's the only other name I'll fucking allow slide with the pops.
Hippie crack.
Well, there's enough fucking hippies I knew that treat it like crack. They just were getting skinny, fucking weird. Anyways, so I got on the pops hard.
And you transcended to 2 dimensions above ours.
This is coming. I don't know exactly where I fucking transcended into what, but I was okay. So We had a bunch of different pop bongs. Obviously, we're at some fucking field party one time. Our pop bong got stolen. I was like, who the fuck would steal this? Because it's a dirty thing.
Dirty fucking
it is
smelly
people who know
garbage.
Yeah, the water. Like I heard about a bitch who drank to pop water. Like willingly, not even by accident. She was like, "Oh, you finished?"
I'd rather
with
drink
that?
piss.
Yeah, I would drink my piss for days before I drink to pop. I drink somebody else's piss before I drink the pop water.
I wouldn't say I'm an overly judgmental person, but when I see someone doing poppers, I automatically assume that person's a very shitty person. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone that does poppers.
Fuck, man. I've seen it.
Like, if you can't stop something like that, then like there's not very much hope for you in this life.
I've seen people too, man. I can't agree with that.
I have to word it like that, man, because it's so disgusting. It's so fucking disgusting.
Yeah. It's like, I'll give it, it's fun when you first try it, but
you get fucked up.
Well, that's why the hippie crack thing, to me, makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people do it in that type of fashion. Like, that's the only way they want to smoke. I know when I started, I didn't fucking smoke nothing else but to pops for like 2 years. Obviously, blunt here and there, but like, if I was smoking by myself, I'm smoking to pops. That's just how it's going. I love cigarettes too, so I mean, that
even around here, my dad said when he first started smoking weed,
Yeah.
he'd smoked hash and tobacco together. Like, there wasn't even weed around. It was just like...
Yeah. It's always weird when you hear that, right? Because hash comes from weed. Like, how the fuck do we have hash around, not weed?
Not weed, yeah.
Where's the weed that made the hash, bro? Anyways. Fucking, yeah. But it's like that in Europe, too, man. All over Europe, they're fucking smoking hash and fucking spliffs, you know, mix it with tobacco. Yeah. And they're like, oh, weed's so hard to get. I'm like, you know where hash comes from, bro? Like, fuck.
It was like the very first joint I had in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I walked into, like, I'm pretty sure it was called the Rhino Cafe.
Yeah, yep.
And they
White
had this
Rhino, probably.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly the name right now.
Might have been that one. Okay.
But they had a lollipop stand.
Yeah.
Full of pre-rolled joints. I'm just like, God damn, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been here for 2 weeks. I haven't had any weed. I was a chronic back then.
Yeah.
Like there was maybe like 3 hours a day, which was while I was asleep, that I was not stoned.
Sleep for 3 hours, bro.
Yeah,
like
those 3 hours. And that in 2014 when I was in Europe, like 2 weeks without any weed, man, I was livid.
Yeah, no, I
did. Livid.
Fucking. It never really got to me that way in terms of like that, but I definitely, I don't know. Whenever I smoked, I always just smoked because other people were smoking, and so it wasn't like ever that I like loved it. But
I never liked it at first. Actually, man.
This
it
comes
was music that made me want to like smoke more weed.
Music is good on.
But like just to end that story, like I grabbed that first joint and it was half full of tobacco. I was so disappointed, man.
Fuck! Oh, they sold it. Really, they sold like spliffs.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I'm like,
no.
I'm like smoking this outside. First puff I had in 2 weeks, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Why am I getting such a head rush?
Yeah.
I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah, what?
I was like, I want straight weed.
That's
and then I ended up getting some like caramel hash later, and running back to my hostel because I was so fucking paranoid of being in a different city, super high on amazing hash.
Yeah, fair, man. Fuck. I want to get into some Amsterdam stories now, but I won't. I'll touch this. I gotta finish the weed thing because I was gonna tell you about one story. I'm gonna tell you about that here eventually. But I remember I remember the very second time I smoked weed.
Second time.
So we were with my friends. We're in a car. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think we're doing fucking lungs. Some people call them shoots, you know, with the fucking pop bottle and the bag. Anyways,
I always call them lungs.
Okay, yeah, I call them lungs.
First time I did a lung was actually with Steezy. That was my second time smoking weed. Was a goddamn Steezy. Lung.
Yeah, lungs fucking rip you, man. Anyway, okay, so let me just I'll wrap this up real quick. Yeah. So we pull a couple of these fucking lungs, right? We get fucking fried, obviously, and I've always been able to. At least when I was younger, it was definitely more prominent. Maybe nowadays I kind of do it in and out, but when I was younger, I was able to just kind of close my eyes, look up to the left, and I would see a stream of images. Like somebody was like clicking the TV, like the remote, and just switching the channels.
Channel remote of
like
your brain.
Nothing really significant. Like I would see Scooby-Doo, then I'd see a tractor, then I would see, I don't know, like a tree. Like it was nothing like complex or anything. They're images that I had seen before, but I thought this was your imagination. I just assumed that that's what your fucking imagination was. Anyways, so we're smoking weed and my imagination starts going. To me, what my imagination is, I'm like, man, I was like, are you guys because I just thought people had visions, you know? I was like, are you guys' visions like fucking crazy right now? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, your visions, man, when you fucking close your eyes and look up to the left. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? I was like, man, when you close your eyes, you look up to the left, you see fucking visions. Like, it looks like somebody's just clicking a remote and switching the channel. They're like, no, dude, that's just you, man. You're fucking baked. So I was like...
At this moment, you realize you are a wizard, Harry.
Well, that was one of the things. Anyways,
Hagrid came that night.
Shut the fuck up. Let me tell the story.
A wizard.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you, like, what I'm seeing. So I start fucking rambling off what I'm seeing. There's 3 of us in the car, all right? So one of the guys, I'm like, okay, Tractor, okay, Scooby-Doo, just because I remember specifically Tractor and Scooby-Doo were in this one, that's why I keep saying those. But it was nothing complex, like I said, just fucking regular vision. Anyway, so I start rattling them off, like, okay, Tractor, Scooby-Doo, like Oak Tree, okay, a fucking pig, okay, a fucking, like, Money in the Pig, okay, like fucking spoon, like fucking kitchenware, like, so I just rattle off what I'm seeing. Anyways, one of my friends, he starts saying simultaneously with me what I'm seeing, like as if he started seeing what I was seeing, and he was saying in tandem with me what I was seeing. So we started both saying like a spoon at the same time, fork, like whatever. And then, so that was kind of trippy. I didn't really consider that to be aliens at the time. I just didn't really know. I was like, well, this is cool. Like, I guess not everybody has visions, and that, like, when you look up to the left, that's not what your imagination is.
Yeah.
And then the second I was like, okay, well, people can tap into this. This is kind of cool. So that was interesting. So that was one kind of trippy experience. That's the second time I smoked weed. The one I wanted to tell you about originally with the pop bong, after we got the pop bong stolen, I was like, I'm going to make a pop bong so fucking grotesque that nobody's going to steal this. So I took a Heinz ketchup bottle. I obviously made a hole in it. I stuck a topper stem in it, and that was our fucking top bottle. So we would just fucking rip the tops out of the fucking Heinz ketchup bottle, put the lid on it afterwards when it's done. No reason. It didn't serve any purpose. It was just kind of cool because you had the lid. Anyways, so I kept that thing in my fucking car for a long time, and then I took it out. I would keep it in a lunchbox, with some water because you need water for that shit. Anyways, I was fucking jonesing for it to pop one night, and it's like, oh, fuck yeah, I got that top bong out there. It's been a while since I had one, too. So, anyways, I went and grabbed it, and you've probably seen when a plastic ketchup bottle gets, like, pinched in the same spot for a long time, it turns white, right? Yeah. So I pull this thing out, and it's just fucking all white. I'm like, well, fuck it. We squeeze this thing enough, it pulls in. I was like, whatever.
Greasy.
I didn't even bother to check it. I just packed it to pop, like, fucking boom, okay, I'm gone. I'm like, what the fuck? My ears start ringing, right? And I've heard ringing in my ears before, but this is more like the ring is raising, almost like when you're turning into like radio stations, and it's like, and it gets into the right one. Old radio stations, I don't know, when you used to have the dial, nowadays you just click, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I fucking zones in, and then it's just like, I felt like it almost like there was a cold mist once it like stopped the pitching. And then I was like, okay, like this is fucked. And then I felt my knees start to jiggle. I was in the garage, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I was like, do you want me to walk this way? Like, I had the kind of notion to speak to this because I felt like something else was there. Yeah. So I was like, hey, like, what do you want me to do? So I do like 2 circles in the garage. And then it's like, I just kind of feel to stop. Like, I don't hear a voice yet, but I feel to stop. And where I stopped, I'm looking dead set at my skateboard. And on my skateboard, I've got a logo, a logo that I made up. This logo here, the little guy with the Merkaba on the head with the antennas coming out. And you see it a little bit. We'll fucking find a picture and put it up there. But yeah, so I'm looking at this guy, and then I hear a whisper in my voice, like really fucking cool, but weird. And it was like, almost like when fucking Harry Potter speaks that parcel tongue or whatever, snake tongue, I don't know what the fuck it's called, but yeah. So it was like, and then it was like, children of light. And then I was like, okay, like, I don't know what the fuck that is. And then it said starseed. I was like, okay, I didn't know what either of those things were at the time. Obviously, I was sort of into this type of field, but so whatever. I'm like, this is fucked, man. Like, this is a pop. Like, now I'm just fucked like this. Like, I'm going to bed. I went to bed. Okay, I wrote down Children of Light. I wrote down Starseed, went to bed, woke up the next morning. I was like, fuck, man, that was fucked. So I go and I was like, I'm going to look up these things, man. I'm going to Google them. Like, I went in, I was just fucking strung out, man. I was like, this is fucking weird. Go to sleep, wake up. Anyways, I go look up starseed. You know what starseed is? Like an alien that comes down, but it's in a human's body. And then Children of Light is this weird thing. It's like something to do 22, 33 and 22 or something. There's supposed to be a certain number of these Children of Light that some person can access and like summon these things, and they're gonna do something. That's what I could find on the internet. I didn't think I was gonna find anything on the internet. I was like, these are just fucking weird terms I heard when I was way too high, thinking that I was like communicating with aliens. Well, it pans out the shit's exactly about aliens, and is like really rung home true to me, like starseed type of thing. Aliens being in a human body is like, okay, kind of makes sense. But
I remember you telling me the story when it happened too.
Well, then you know,
so ecstatic about it.
I was stoked. But then what the kicker to it all was, I was like, I gotta go look at that bong, man, because like, what the fucked me up. When I went to go look at that ketchup bong, you know how I was saying I thought it was just all squeeze and it was just white, the plastic was stress? I looked in that thing and it was cobweb from bottom to top and fucking mold. So I inhaled some sort of mold too. So I mean, this could have been a bit of a hallucination. Either way, it led me to some perfect knowledge. So like, fucking, it's all good. It's all gravy, baby.
Fungus,
but
yeah, mushrooms.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, maybe, you know, it wasn't just the weed. It was obviously a little bit of these fucking, I don't know, this mold and like you're saying, fungus, mushrooms, essentially. So, anyways, that's one time I can say just through weed that I've had an experience with the other kind. And so I've had different experiences since, and I don't know, they're just like, I don't know, I think it depends on the person too, because obviously the aliens are not going to come talk to somebody who's just like, would be freaked the fuck out. And you hear sometimes that they do come talk to these people, and then these people eventually like share the knowledge that the aliens have brought to them. And whenever I hear these people speak about the knowledge that the aliens brought to them, it's not really knowledge that I find very useful. It's usually like a meditative practice, or like, you know, you got to find your soul's path, you got to find your destiny, you know, be here and now, be present. Like, it's usually some fucking hippy dippy spiritual cliche. So I'm like, you know, that's what the alien said to you. Fucking, that's one of your 2.6 aliens or whatever, like on the scale. I don't know. I mean, I think the aliens knew that they couldn't just explain to them complex stuff. Like, if things that I've gotten told by the aliens are usually stuff with numbers. And I mean, you know, I used to work on numbers quite a bit, like numerology and stuff. And so that stuff, I've got a few kind of, I don't know, after a while, I think it kind of became like in sync. Like sometimes nowadays when I think, I'll know that thought kind of comes from elsewhere. So, I mean, I don't need to say that's an alien. I don't know if it's an alien. Like, it could just be intuition. I usually just say intuition because if I'm having a conversation with
favorite words of all time, man.
Well, to me it works, because if you're like, go up to somebody and you say, I don't know, like some alien told me that like you're fucking weird, they're gonna be like, you're fucking weird. You know, obviously the alien will probably tell you something different. Like, he'll tell you maybe something about their mom or something. Like, sometimes I'll get an impression of somebody, like I'll think I'll know who they were in a past life, which is obviously kind of strange, but I don't usually tell them too much because it's just like, it's a weird thing. It's always a weird conversation to have, unless it's with somebody like I know who's receptive. Like, if I had some sort of impression of you in a past life, I would tell you, because you would just be like, okay, that's interesting. But the average person, if I get these impressions, I'm not just gonna go and tell them. And I think for me, it's more to understand, like, it kind of concretes the idea that past lives exist. And for me, the existence of past lives, its implications are more important than trying to tell somebody like, oh, you're from Orkney, or like, I knew you from Egypt. That's not the point of me knowing about past lives. For me, it's to understand, like, okay, how the world works. Like, it really alleviates any fear of death for me too. Like, I'm just like, when death comes, fucking thank God I don't gotta be here no more. But, you know, I do kind of feel like I'm here for some sort of reason, so I stay. But that's what it helps me. You know, I really think, I know, I could ponder maybe I would be more depressed and suicidal if I didn't understand past lives as a fact. And see, this is the thing. I don't really care about saying them as a fact, but I wouldn't go out and say like as of my belief, because that's too fucking trashy, you know? And that's just belief. But I don't know, you know, it definitely helps me fucking cope, I think, and just in a weird way, but it's not something I would enjoy talking to people about. When I first fucking came into them, like, I would have more conversations with people about this type of stuff, but...
Well, you're super stoked. You want to see if people are having similar experiences.
Well, yeah, and then you realize...
You're curious. You just want to get your stuff out there.
There's lots...
See what you're thinking is something that someone else is thinking, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I needed them to...
It's a very human thing to do.
I felt like I needed them to confirm it. And that's
what I mean.
Well, no, that's different, because if you're stoked on it and you want to share, that's not the same thing. If you want them to confirm your beliefs so you feel that your beliefs are more concrete, it's really like you're not strong enough to believe it yourself.
Almost
that you need.
You know what? Wait. Blah blah blah. you don't want to believe that you're crazy or anything like that, right?
Kind of that. I think like people have a tendency to feel like if somebody else believes this too, they got a support system. And I guess like you're saying, they don't feel that they're crazy. But I think almost one of the points of human development is to become completely self-sufficient. Now, it doesn't mean that you'll never have need for other people, or maybe it eliminates the need and just allows you to want, or just allows you to have a more balanced relationship with people because you don't really need them. It's like a nice thing, you know, it's not like fuck you, I don't need you. It's just like, well, whatever. If I can't have you in the way that I want to have you, that's fine too. Like I have me, so it's good. So I know it's self-sufficiency is obviously well, to me it's obviously a useful thing to develop in within yourself, because then you're just like, you know, whatever. So but that would always piss me off if I would share stuff, like some of my experiences with some people, and then they would be like, okay, and like I could tell that they're like, you know, they're just kind of being nice and just basically not saying I'm weird to my face. So I was like, okay, there's something like, this is not the way. Like, this is not why I know this stuff. I don't know this stuff to go share this with people. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I know this stuff to help me in the work that I do. And we had talked about writers in a previous episode and how I said, you know, their philosophy that you have as a writer, you really need to have your own philosophy. So to me, I kind of feel like writing's one of my purposes. So that really helps me in the writing bit. And that way there, I can just, you know, have it in that field. And I don't, you know, I'm telling you because you asked, but like I wouldn't just obviously go tell Joe Blow on the street. But I've had my experience with it. And this is also a flaw I see too. So I think that it also allows me, if I do see a situation, potentially I could help somebody, but I wouldn't really help any motherfucker, you know, because for me, at least, learning the hard way, going through those experiences of like sharing this knowledge with somebody and then having them, you know, not react to it as I wanted them to react to it, and then feeling kind of weird about that, whatever I was feeling, hurt maybe, or just feeling like maybe wasn't true, doubt, whatever emotions I was going through, I appreciate that I had to like make those mistakes to learn how to figure out how to use it in a good way. So, you know, if I saw somebody going through what I went through, I would not say a fucking thing, man. And this funny enough leads to a theory about gods. So there's a theory that I read where it said the reason that gods don't speak, and I used to use gods plural because the idea of just one god is foolish beyond things, and that's too big of a tangent to get into. But the reason that the gods don't speak is because this is how they're wording it, right? They're saying that gods don't speak because the best way for somebody to learn is on their own. So that's why they don't interfere. Now, whether this is true or not, like that's kind of irrelevant because it's more so something to think about. Like say, because people are always like, oh, why doesn't God give me an answer? What if the best answer is no answer? The best answer being no
yourself,
answer.
as if you are the image of God.
See, no, because this gets too gray. Like this, a person who's asking God and wondering why God's not responding to them. If you go say, "Well, you are the image of God," that's going to confuse them further. So I wouldn't say that. I would leave that for a while.
I think you're taking what I said literally there. I mean, like
I'm calling dirty math on it. Well, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't say that right away. If you're gonna say that to somebody, you gotta. What I want to express is, okay, the reason the gods, this is how the theory goes, and this is something to think about. I'm not saying like this is exactly how it is. To me, it seems like that's how it is. I'll say that. But again, this is just a theory that I read, and they said that the gods don't speak because the best way to find any answer is to find it, like, figure it out yourself. And the answer, you know, you can use some cliche like it's the fucking destination, not the journey, or it's the journey, not the whatever fucking blokes say. Anyways, you can use some shitty cliche, but it is kind of that, you know, you ask God or whatever you fucking believe is up there for an answer. You don't get the answer. Then if you're hungry enough for the answer, you'll find the answer. If you're not that hungry for the answer, you don't really deserve the answer. You're just kind of lazy about it, and that allows for the natural hierarchy of life.
Yeah.
Now that's another tangent, but you know, people who are not driven enough to get what they want don't get what they want. And so this is why, and we can't have everybody getting what they want. I mean, imagine a society where, say, everybody wanted to be a fucking rapper, right? Just imagine how that would be. Like, that would be fucking trash. There'd be obviously so much shitty rap. There'd be some good rap. But again, a natural hierarchy would form because the people who are really good at it, they would be the best. And the people who are shitty at it, they'd still be rappers, but they'd be shitty at it. Yeah. And so the people, you know, they would still listen to the guys who are great. So, like, hierarchy, I think we both agree on this. Hierarchy always is kind of like an intrinsic.
It's part of nature. You can't. discredit that. It always happens in every type of being on Earth.
I don't think we could survive without it.
No, I definitely agree with that.
It's almost necessary for us to kind of continue on.
But to go back on that God tangent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I believe myself as God in the biblical sense, like this all-seeing being.
Yeah.
But I definitely go around with the notion inside my head that I can do what I want with my thoughts, and my thoughts create my reality.
Yeah.
And to like the whole thing about learning from yourself, that's a very powerful thing, because like you are basically your own guru. You do things a different way than anybody else.
Yeah, well, like, I understood what you said with, like, you are the image of God, and I agree with it, but I'm just saying, like, if we're going to be talking to a person and saying, if they're coming to us and asking, say, you know, I've been asking God for all these answers and God's not giving me answers, why doesn't God give me the answers? If I was going to give them an honest answer, which I probably wouldn't, because I do believe that it's best for them to go get the answer on their own, I would say, God doesn't answer you because the best way to do it is figure it out on your own. Yeah, and this is also a test to see if you want it bad enough to figure it out, because there's enough people who just give up. Okay. If they came up to you and asked you the same question, and then you said, well, God didn't answer you because you are the image of God, like, that doesn't really make sense.
I wouldn't say it that way, even though I did say that earlier.
Yeah.
I said what I meant to say was, okay, since you are made in the image of God, which is said in the Bible, not taking that literally. Yeah. But if we are a part of that God being, therefore we have access to what that entitles. Yeah. Or what we theoretically think that entitles.
Yeah, see, and then it gets great, because, like, if God made the world, I can't really make a world. Can you make a world? No. Like,
but I can influence my world.
Yeah, you can influence your life
to a certain
degree. Your life, but
that's
and your
technically
trajectory.
Your world, how you impose onto the planet.
Yeah. See, when I hear the word,
that's what I mean by not the biblical sense.
It's like an actual world. Like, yeah. Okay. So, but then it's like, I don't know, because the way that the biblical sense, the attributes that the Bible gives to God, and then they're saying that we're made in the image of God. Well, the attributes that God has, shouldn't we have those attributes because we're made in the image? I'm just taking this literally, but I think you need to take things literally, because this is the way it goes, man. Words have definitions, and if they didn't have fucking definitions, the whole thing would be just gobbledygook, and nobody would be making any sense, because nothing would mean nothing. I couldn't say something to you and it have any fucking coherence. So you need these things, but this is what the Bible's saying. You know, it's giving God all these attributes and then saying you are made in the image of God. Well, nobody I fucking know can just go build a planet in 7 days. They can't build a fucking human race in 7 days. And this is what the Bible's saying God does. Now, obviously, I don't think that that's, like, I think this was created by gods, plural, you know, and they all had a different function. And each one of those gods couldn't do exactly the same thing as the other god. I think for this is something that I don't think everybody understands too, because I see a lot of people take one notion, like, say Wim Hof, for example. Wim Hof can do all this shit, and he's saying, you know what, you can figure out what I can do, and then you can go do it. So I agree to a certain extent. They can mimic the breathing methods, and they can probably survive in some frigid temperatures. Yeah. But they don't have the drive to do it that Wim Hof has. So Wim Hof is kind of just showing us the potential. I think for me, if I was going to take Wim Hof's methods, I would only apply them if I got sick, because he was able to control, like, when they put a disease, when they put the E. coli in him, he was able to control his immune system and essentially fight it off, or let it not affect his immune system. So to me, that's applicable, but that's the only way I would do that. I'm not really too interested in climbing Mount Everest in just shorts. Yeah. It's badass as fuck.
This is super interesting. We should tell the viewers that we're going to post a link to his Vice.
The Vice one, we should link that Russell brand, because that's the best one I've seen.
Yeah, that one too.
I haven't watched it all, but
let's do the Russell brand one then.
Yeah, just for people to get a good idea of Wim Hof, because the Vice one does it, but you know, we'll put both. I mean, fuck, it's the internet.
The Vice one's cool because you get to see him go and actually do those feats, or not all of them, but like they go walking on the mountain with shirtless, and then they show him in his cabin, and he's showing them how to breathe, and they're actually hallucinating off their own breathing. They're getting high. Their own.
That's another thing too, man. I mean, maybe I'll do that to fucking hallucinate.
They're basically hyperventilating. A controlled hyperventilation allowing you to have a natural high.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a cool part as well.
In a nutshell, what Wim Hof's method does, it brings your brain to a point of survival mode.
Yeah, you were saying it stresses
Yeah.
Well, you know a bit better about Wim Hof, so you can give him a better explanation than me because I don't know all that kind of stuff with him.
Well, basically, he was using breathing techniques. He was jumping into cold water.
Yeah.
Whatever to do to like put a high amount of stress on his body.
Yeah.
And eventually he got colder and colder. Then he did like the world record of going underneath ice for the longest.
Yeah, was it 7 minutes or something like that?
I think it was 7 minutes, but he went 25 kilometers, I think it was.
Yeah, if motherfuckers swam under ice too, yeah, not just like he was in there.
There's a story somewhere of him talking about that, and halfway through he goes blind because it's so cold. It freezes up his retina of his eye.
Oh fuck!
And
they just
and he had a hard time finding the hole, so he was underwater longer than he needed to be.
Yeah.
See,
and this becomes where like the amount of stuff that Wim Hof can do, he's obviously introducing us into a potential, but we really only need the practical things because there's not really many situations where we're going to have to swim underwater for 7 minutes.
Well, no,
it still proves what he can do. I think this it's like such an utter proof. Like, look, I can cure the disease.
I think he
swim
knows
under
that
the water.
too. That's why he concentrates on, as he says, controlling the autonomic. Wait.
Autonomic, is it?
Autonomic? He says it weird with an accent. I'm not sure what word he's using.
Because autonomy is what he's referring to. That's the like core word or root word.
That word, immune system.
Yeah. Well, see, then if I were to ask you what is the practical use of Wim Hof's techniques? Like, what are they to you?
Well, people live really stressful lives. And I feel like if you have grasp of control of your stress, that's a huge thing you can change your life with.
Suppose so, like relieving stress. So to me, I guess
also that puts you in a state of zen or flow state because you're removing thought and you're being more present. So in a sense, it's a type of meditative practice.
Yeah, I was just me and Jim were actually talking earlier about this, and he had not specifically the Wim Hof, but you just said one thing that I'm gonna pick on is the clearing your mind, silencing your mind, and going into a meditative state. Now, I don't think that everybody can silence their mind. I think maybe they can all silence their mind, but I don't think silencing your mind is good for everybody. I don't because that's one thing you do often hear with meditative practices, like silence your mind, silence your mind. I'm able to do it, but it doesn't do shit for me. Like, it actually would cause me more panic to silence my mind. Not even panic, I'd just be sitting there, like, I've done it before just to, like, see how it is, and I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like, my mind's quiet, like, and maybe I'm not a person who ever gets stressed, and I'm not really sure how much I believe in stress.
I never get stressed.
No.
But I do like the being here and now. Like, when I play music, that's one thing that I like to do. Like, if I can be in the zone and just listen to the music of what I'm playing instead of, like, thinking about something else.
Yeah. Okay, what could we say, because I think stress might tie into this emotions thing that we were talking about earlier. Okay. How I kind of said that you don't really have emotions, you just have unfinished thoughts. I think that stress is exactly that. It's like almost the buildup of so many unfinished thoughts. And I've noticed, too, that stress mostly occurs in stupid people. Like, people who see others and they're like, oh, that guy's being a piece of shit. Like, I don't know why he just doesn't do this. And they can't understand that, like, that guy is a fucking moron. He's not even capable of what you're thinking he could do. So, like, you're stupider
Would you say it's
than
more
him.
stress or frustration?
Well, this is what I'm saying, because
or is
stress,
the frustration creating the stress?
Stress to me is like this mythical thing. It's not really defined properly. They say stress, like anything can be stress. There's all these things that cause stress.
They always tie stress and anxiety in the same kind of sentence too.
Yeah, and see, because I've never had no fucking I don't know what the word, no sympathy for the people with anxiety. To me, it's like, it's so made up, I can't conceive it, man. I mean, if you're worried about doing something, like, that's just you're worried about doing something. And if you let that worry keep you in your room and not do that stuff, you don't have anxiety. You're just a bitch. But, like, I'll just call the spade a spade because that's how I see it. And if you don't think of it that way, I mean, obviously you're not smart enough to understand these things. And so you're a stupid bitch then. And I'm being very rude right now. I know enough people might not like me saying it like that, but I truly do think it is.
Comments already.
Well, this is it, man. I mean, if you're fucking so anxiety about something and you're like, oh, they might think this, and if I screw up and I make this mistake, and then this person might not like me, and like fuck, and then they're just like, well, fuck it, and then they just don't do the thing. Well, you just caved to a theoretical scenario, all right?
Yeah.
And like, if that theoretical scenario fucking yanks you around, its chain is around your neck and it controls you, you are still hearing those thoughts. You could fucking turn some music on full blast. You could do anything to break that pattern. And if you don't break that pattern and you just sit in it and let it manipulate you and control you, I'm sorry, but your will is weak. And if your will is weak, I'm using bitch as my term for that. Obviously, not the fucking female dog term, but I'm using bitch in the sense like, you gotta fucking man up, woman or man. Like, you gotta fucking... You gotta get there, grab the fucking leash, and control your life.
And this is why meditation is such a popular thing, because they want to get out of that zone, and that's why there's been such a big increase in that.
In the meditation, it helps. I mean, I guess I should state too,
things.
I do have a bit of a blind spot for this, because I've never really experienced anything where it's like, it's been so heavy that I just didn't do that thing. But I can also say this too. Sometimes anxiety could be your intuition telling you, don't fucking do that thing. Anxiety could work as a smart thing 100%. As well.
100%. I feel like that's exactly what that is.
I shouldn't just say everybody's a bitch.
Your body doesn't do things for the fuck of it, right?
Yeah.
Any signal you get from your body is your body trying to tell you something.
Yeah, usually because...
That's what your intuition is.
We could kind of say...
It's listening to yourself, which is...
check.
As I would say, God.
Well, if initially the body's smarter than the mind... Until the mind starts listening to the body, only then can the mind be smarter than the body. And then essentially you can grow smarter too after that. So if, say, anxiety, I'm not really retracting my statement on anxiety. Like, there's enough cases where people are just being a bitch. Yeah. But I do also think that your body could be warning you, like, okay, this is a waste of your fucking time. Don't do it. Like, if I do get any type of emotion towards something that I really don't want to do, I just don't do it. And I think that if some scientist came in and I don't believe such a scientist exists, but if this scientist has seen anxiety in this other kid who's, can't do these things because he's frightened of them, and he has somehow mapped out and quantified the fucking emotion, the structure, and all the neurons, mapped it out, and he's seen what that does in that kid, and he comes to me, and he watches me like, I don't know, somebody fucking asks me to go, what would I not want to do? I don't know, somebody goes ask me to wear a pair of black jeans or something, like, I'm just going to say no, and I don't care. Like, it wouldn't cause me anxiety, so that's not really fair, but I don't know. I think, okay, what was the real shitty thing? When my mom made me go to a fucking babysitting course, all right, and I did not want to fucking do that. I told her, like, I was fucking 16. I'm like, I'm not fucking babysitting no kid, first of all. Why am I going this thing? It was kind of just like, go with your sister. Probably in hindsight, maybe that was more, but I just had the worst feeling about this. I didn't want to go. And I think like a scientist could probably come in and like see, and he would maybe declare that as anxiety. But me, I knew I was like, this is going to be a fucking waste of my time. I get there. I was the only boy there. It's a bunch of 13-year-old girls. I'm fucking 16 sitting in this room. It was at the fucking superstore. So I was like, fuck this shit. I broke apart my pen. And I made it so it would whistle at a high pitch. And I just fucking, every time he started to speak, like, just high-pitched whistle. And you'd look around, and I fucking just, hold it, just stone face him, just like, wasn't me, boss. Yeah. And then just kept doing it. Eventually, he figured out it was me. I mean, it wasn't hard. I'm the only boy. He's like, well, like, do you not want to be here? I'm like, no. He's like, well, what, like, I just left, And
did you ever get anxiety when you smoked weed? Or, like... what you thought was anxiety or paranoia? Because for me personally, I never suffered from any type of anxiety or paranoia until I started smoking weed.
I'd say like sometimes near the end of it, I'd smoke weed with my friends and we just wouldn't say anything. And sometimes I'd be like, fuck, I could be instigating conversation right now and I could be making this time be spent more efficiently and I'm not. So I kind of took it upon me like it was my fault or just a waste of my time. And so, I don't know, to me, I would almost say that a more accurate definition for anxiety is it's usually your body's way of telling you that you're wasting your time. And so, whatever your anxiety is telling you not to do, don't do that. but don't do nothing. Go find something else to do. Figure out something else. Like, don't just fucking sit and stoop in your own gloom and doom for ages. That's it can be healthy if you're really smart, but it's not really that healthy usually. So, if you do experience some sort of anxiety, don't take no fucking pills. Don't fucking talk to no doctors. If your parents are trying to tell you no shit,
deal
like,
with
fuck
yourself.
it.
Go deep inside your own brain. Figure out why those things are happening.
Don't say the deep, man, because these kids that are experiencing this, you gotta understand. This is why I always get word Nazi with you, is because I don't feel like you're considering the levels that these people are at. So if you tell a person who can barely figure out that anxiety is basically a myth,
I suppose I thought these things over, like, already.
Because
to the depth of,
to you, you're like explaining it to you and making it make sense. But if you tell this kid to get deep, that's just going to cause him more anxiety because he doesn't even fucking understand how to deal with himself. You tell him how to get deep, he'll be like, fuck, so I would just say,
how do I get deep?
I would say, yo, kid, you get the anxiety, fucking don't do whatever the fuck it is your anxiety about, man. If you don't want to go hang out with this group of friends, if you don't want to fucking do this, go to this party, don't fucking do that. Find something else, though. Don't fucking do nothing. Find something else. I don't care what it is.
All these like subcategories of like social anxiety.
Just
and
right
things
there,
like that.
do you get how that's kind of like, that's how you would give him advice? Because if you said get deep to the kid, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to kind of fathom that, right? So this is like, I know you know what you're talking about. You're not wrong. But just in terms of the context and the level of that kid, you got to kind of speak to the level of that kid.
I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And I think this only really pertains to stuff like with me and you. Because like weightlifters work out with other weightlifters, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about these types of things because we can. We know the depth already. So it really doesn't need to be talked about. I get what you're...
Because I always kind of pay attention when we do this is like, I'm talking not just to you, I'm talking to anybody else out there too. So I kind of try and keep it, if you just match levels, then you're fine. But because you're not really saying something wrong with it. No. But I just wouldn't fucking say that to the kid because he's not going to get how to get deep,
On another note, I feel like next time we should have a timer, but I'm pretty sure we are pretty close to that hour mark now.
The hour mark? Okay. I'll bust out the tarot cards. I think we resolved most things. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I think it's pretty good. I think maybe next podcast I'd like to talk about maybe some more spiritual experiences. Like there's a time I did mushrooms and I saw this face form out of light on my ceiling and it talked to me for a good hour and it gave me some pretty cool insight. There's been times where I've channeled like ancestors and maybe even me in a past life.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I know these because you told me, and
of course.
Yeah, that's true. Some people find that interesting, I think. Yeah.
Maybe
I found it
maybe next episode.
So it may be. Right, I'm gonna draw one here. Top, hand this to Jules. So for anybody wondering, this is just the Rider Tarot deck. I thought it was Rider Waity. It's on this side. Anyways, this is one of the more traditional ones. This is one I like to have because I like the logos on it. So I drew the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups fits well with what we talked to because the King of Cups is kind of the master of psychological depths. So we got good portions of those, psychological, obviously with the anxiety thing, the emotions, and how to handle those type of things. So that's pretty fitting for the episode. If a person just generally draws this card, it means either that they have figured out their problem, they don't have to keep like trying to figure it out, they've come to a core truth, or it means that they need to do that work and they need to kind of get in tune with what their intuition is saying to them and, figure that out. So that's that. Obviously, we'll put a picture up there. You guys can see that.
I got this guy over here.
Fuck, was he? Six of Swords? Six of Swords.
I think it's Six of Swords.
Yeah, that it's departure and like sorrow too. There's something. So this, I'm just gonna describe what it is usually, but it probably ties into you a different way because I don't know if you're gonna depart from this with sorrow, but it does imply like you've done something and you know that no longer you can do it that way. You need to do it a different way. So really this is just kind of telling you to switch up your format, and you probably already know which way you have in mind of switching it. So just stay to that format. So that's kind of what that's telling you.
Like my mind jumps to a couple things, but
yeah,
nothing too specific.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes these things just set in, trickle in later on. So it kind of fits too with where we switch mics. You know, we went from fucking just one mic and we've switched now to two mics. So we've switched up the format.
Setup, but I keep looking at this poll the whole time.
I fucking hate it.
I'm constantly like.
Yeah, it threw me off quite a bit at the start, man. I couldn't.
I think next time I'll have it like pulling up this way.
Yeah, that makes sense over in that thing. I'm gonna have to put some colors on this shit too, for God's sakes. I got some fucking.
Not this thing.
No, I'm not painting. I got fucking. I'll put like fucking Steven Tyler. Get a scarf on it or some shit.
Or just throw that blanket you got over there.
That's true too. Yeah, cloak it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is it. Pleasure as always.
Always, man.
Till next time. Peace.